What's going on, everybody? It is time for a special Wednesday edition. That's right, a Wednesday edition of Truth Will Set You Free. Because why? It was Anthony's birthday yesterday, and I'm the boss, applesauce. Just kidding. We are getting the party started tonight with some really great topics. We're going to be talking remaining information about Afghanistan and implications across the world. Afghanistan, what we're seeing from the Department of Defense based on people on the ground, not necessarily the truth, and also the way different things are unfolding in places like Yemen as well. We're going to talk about the Proud Boys and Antifa clashing. Elder is attacked by a group of Antifa/white leftists. I don't know. We'll talk about that. And our boy Rand Paul, my boy, I like Rand. He has been going ham lately. He's got a bunch of different things talking about Fauci, as well as the fact that we have been snorting our taxes away. The National Institute of Health had a whole research study done on quails and cocaine. Wow. And of course, Joy Behar on the show that I have no idea how it's still on television because it's the most divisive thing on the planet, just spreading hate day after day after day. Talk about her talking about how she feels about the unvaccinated. With that said, I see some people watching right now. We need a lot more. So go ahead and hit the like button. I don't see any thumbs up or like. So I need you guys to do that for me right now. Hit thumbs up, hit the hearts, hit everything you can. Unless there's somebody near you, don't hit them. That would be rude and potentially assault. And share it out there. Let's get this party started. What's going on, everybody? It's Anthony Michael Russo. We've got Judas Stalin in the house, a.k.a. Kevin, and Casey, everybody's favorite libertarian. We're going to bring them up in just a second. We're waiting on Suni. I think Suni sent a message. I don't know. I haven't been able to read it yet as we were getting prepped. She's on her way. It looks like I see Casey giving me the thumbs up. With that said, let's bring them up on stage. Gentlemen, I hope everybody is having a fantastic evening. I don't know what's going on. I know it's Wednesday, but we have about half the usual audience, so I need you guys to share it out. I see all your comments. Let's see. I know we were a little late, Chris. We were talking about all the different topics, making sure we had some clips, all that good stuff. I have a clip that I didn't even include in here. We're going to talk about Saki Atumi saying that there's going to be news tomorrow that really only affects whether or not vaccinated or unvaccinated. So I'm going to play that clip, and we're going to dissect it. So aside from that, Judas, introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi, guys. My name's Kevin. I'm here from the Liberty Revolt, as always, just trying to spread the message of liberty, this message of love and community. I want to give today is a very special day. I want to give a shout out to my mom, looking up at you. Happy birthday, Mama. And just here to keep the liberty going, guys. Liberty Revolt. How many times do I have to say liberty?
Happy birthday to your mom in heaven. I know she's looking down on you. Proud of you fighting the good fight, because that's what we do here on
That's what she taught me. I'm just keeping it going.
Well, that you are doing a fantastic job, my friend. Casey, what is cracking, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Just trying to figure out how to live in this crazy world.
Crazy world. That is a mighty fine hat you've got there, sir. What's our current, what do we have right now as our current? We still have LA Strong, and then what's the other? We have another 20. Does America's Save America still work?
No.
Does not.
That one,
okay.
That one does not. So we got Wake Up and LA Strong, and they're both 25% off.
Wake Up. That's right. Wake Up. And then on the LA Strong, if anything you buy on the website, we've sold a few items. We've got the LA Strong t-shirt as well. But if you do that, if you do the LA Strong, anything purchased in that order will have all the proceeds go to the two New Orleans charities that we've selected. One is a direct GoFundMe of one of our viewers. So make sure you check that out. I'm going to go ahead and put the link of our store in the box. Why DuckDuckGo gets really weird sometimes, where if you go to something, it actually decides to search it instead of actually go to the store, which is really frustrating. So I'll go ahead and put that in the comment box. I already know that I should have it up here as well. Let me throw that up.
Why am I not getting notified of it on YouTube?
There you go. So that's where it is. wakenotwoke.myshopify.com. We've got almost 100 people watching, which is quite a bit less than usual. So do me a solid and make sure you share it out. So as I say, I've said in the last few weeks, I know that a lot of times we are.
So
what's that?
It's not showing that you're live on people's stuff. They have to click on it to see it.
Oh, that's fun. That's so much fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to like share it over to my dad really quick, and I expected it to be right there because normally, it is, and I had to go search for it. So people are like, did you guys have to seek out the video on YouTube, or did it let you guys know it's there?
It's funny. I should be getting an alert on YouTube, and I have not. So that explains it. I don't even have. Oh no, I did get one on you. I got one on YouTube. I did not get one on Facebook. So yeah, fun stuff.
Nice.
I got one on both.
What'd you say? You got one on Facebook?
And both. YouTube and Facebook.
Okay. So I guess some people got notified. It took the long way to get here, said Diane. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the chat box. So Wake Up and LA Strong get you 25% off. Okay, we'll get the show started quickly. There we go. We're over 100. It should start trickling in now. Sorry for the delay, guys. I wonder if they were mad because we went late. Let's pretend like it was just an accident on Facebook's part and it wasn't serious, even though we all know that's absolute and utter bullshit.
Has nothing to do with the fact that we were talking backstage for a while.
No, nothing. Well, we were planning. We had to figure out what we were talking about and seeing when Sunni would hop over. I'm just reading comments now. Not notified, but she's here anyways. Excellent. Okay, let's get started with, let's talk. Let's think. Let's lead off with something a little bit funny, because this is where when people think that they should fully trust the NIH, National Institute of Health, Fauci's, Lord of all, whatever. There is actually, that has been something found, Senator Rand Paul, who has just been going hard lately on different topics that he sees that the American public should know, why I've become a very, 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 very big fan of his. So there's federal grants, he says in his Facebook post. Let's see, today. Federal grants perfectly encapsulate everything broken with the federal scientific research subsidization industry. One such grant is the much popularized Quails on Cocaine study, originally uncovered by Dr. Tom Coburn, who is a Republican from Oklahoma. In his 2011 Waste Book, Coburn highlighted a $356,000 study funded by the National Institute on Drug Abuse at the NIH to study the relationship between cocaine abuse and risky sexual behavior.
Jesus.
In Japanese quail. Yes, in Japanese quail. Unfortunately, the research continued for several years, total lasting from 2010 to 2016, received an additional $517,000 for a total of $874,000 in tax dollars, operating with preliminary evidence in male Japanese quail that pre-exposure to cocaine enhances sexual motivation. I mean, that's pretty much the gist. I don't think we need to see more, but
there's worse than that. So at my turning point table, we have terrible or shitty waste of money like Jenga, where we put stuff like this on Jenga blocks. We'd say what it did and then tell the dollar amount. There's stuff worse than this that they're paying like millions of dollars for, like studying the effects of like sidewalk paint on squirrel populations. I don't know, but like there's billions of dollars spent on this stuff.
Yeah, it's insane. And we wonder why we can't get, money to education in inner cities or proper community programs with policing. Why, things that could actually help change the world and change our country for the better. Let's find out about quails fucking. Jeez.
Can I poke a hole in something you said there?
What did I say?
We need to give more money to schools in inner cities.
Okay, go
So
ahead.
the average per pupil dollar amount spent in America, K through 12, is $13,500. Baltimore, which had, again, in 2019, like 0 schools able to do math or read or write or whatever. Again, well, how much do you think they were paying if the national average was 13 and a half?
They were paying more, but it was
Yeah.
waste. It was
It's
fizzled
16
and
and a half. Yeah, it's
right.
16 and a half. Detroit was 19 and a half. Washington, D.C. was 20 and a half, right? So these are all terrible school districts paying well above not just the American average, which is second in the world, but the national average or the world average as well. So it's like the problem isn't money. The problem is wasteful spending to the nth degree. And Casey, I know you were thinking it as well when you heard it. You were
Yeah.
yeah, because it's like it is a myth, and it's a commonly propagated myth, and it does kind of make sense. Why do schools suck? They're not getting paid enough. No, unfortunately, schools suck because in places like New York City, they have entire classrooms dedicated to teachers that cannot teach, that they're paying about $17 million a year to keep full
Right.
because they
No,
can't fire them.
you're 100% right. It's the misguided spending. It's the corruption in those cities. So how about the second statement, which
Yes,
is
everything else you said.
do you know, as somebody that was in the event world, we talk about this, and it's funny. I worked an event last week,
I
and
saw you on TV.
it was amazing. I was on TV. I'll be on TV again this weekend. You'll see me jumping around in the background, hyping the crowd up. But anyways, it was interesting because when we're talking about the way funding works, when we're talking about the ability to actually resonate with people in these communities and community policing, we're talking about what the event marketing world could have done at the beginning of the pandemic. That's what we're talking about. Excuse me. If you would have given us the money the government gave to people that had no idea what they were doing to do all the test places and all the the COVID positive and all the testing, it could have been done for a fraction of the price. The same way that I believe community in programs in terms of getting the police to meet the actual people in their cities would be night and day, drastically different if it was run by experiential marketing companies, so they could actually figure out what to do. You give me $100 million, which the budgets are in the billions. You give me $100 million per year, I can get something done that actually makes an impact across the country, period. Plain and simple. No
Put
questions.
in a research grant, man. Apparently they get handed out like freaking candy.
No, they would look at my background and see that I was conservative and say, nope.
Oh, yeah. No,
All right, before we get, the crowd is going up a little bit. We got Suni on. I want to actually finish this part of the conversation talking a little bit about behind backseats, what we think of Rand Paul. With that said, while we're here, while we've got some people, and I'm going to repeat this at least once through the show. First off, thank you for the birthday messages. Meant a ton to me. The one thing that I wanted to put up there is what Be the Change has meant to you. And some of the responses were absolutely amazing. And it reminds us why we do what we do. Sometimes we have 400 people watching. Sometimes we have 100 people watching. But fact is, we are making an impact, and we are going to continue to do what we do as hard as we can for as long as we can until we can hopefully break through it, hopefully grow our audience, etc. Now, with that said, I love all of you, but but one question that I've gotten lately, a lot of private messages and a lot of comments on different stuff asking how Cash is. I love Cash. I talked to Cash for the first time in a while a couple of days ago. His the phone wasn't working. If there is a change in Cash's circumstance, you will hear about it from us as soon as possible. And not to sound like I'm selling anything right now, but you see the scroll on the bottom of the page. That is the Patreon page. We have a limited amount of people in there. If you want to ask me a direct question and ask for more updates, which again, there isn't any. If there is one, we would let you know. There might be a court date this month regarding what's going on in DC. That again does not mean he'll get out because of his previous sentence. But please, I don't mind answering them. Whatever. But just realize 700 messages asking how Cash is a little daunting, and some people I may have missed as well. So again, this is not the way I would like to spend my time. As much as I love all of you, if there is anything that changes with Cash, you will know first by paying attention to Streetlights, this page, or if you want more direct response, please join it as a Patreon. It's $5 a month, and it helps what we're doing. That's it. Autumn, can you write him? There is an app. We talk about that again. These questions, please. I know that it sounds like I'm like spend $5. There's no way for me to answer thousands of people. That's all I have to say on that. Please, that's it. That's my mini rant. Besides that, I still love you guys. Anyways, I just felt like yesterday I was getting all these birthday messages, and like for some odd reason, that was when everybody chose to start messaging about Cash. I was like, okay. But yeah, Cash sends his love. I wrote a message to the Patreon group. Essentially, Cash right now is like, if I hear one more effing thing about an audit, I'm going to stab somebody. If there's ever anything that comes out with an audit, how about you actually show it instead of talk about it? So if you think he's on the Trump train still, he is on the whatever information we can get out train, and he doesn't give a shit about any politicians. He gives a shit about people. Go ahead, kid.
I would encourage you guys, if any of you talk to him, ask him his opinion on Mike Lindell.
100%. Now that's a funny story. Actually, you know what? I'll stick on Cash for a second. I know that's a curveball. Did you guys see the article that came out that said first black man arrested in conjunction with the Capitol riots?
Is it him?
No, it's some random dude. And I mean, this guy was violent. This guy actually like beat up police officers, but it's like the first black man, and Cash is in jail with a guy they call Colonel. There's two black guys, and all of a sudden now the world of media, just the same way as even Rolling Stone, we're all effed. It's horrible. Yeah, the app works like crap, but that's the only real way, to be totally honest. Yeah, the app you can do on a computer and not on a phone. All right, let's get off of Cash for a second. I want to talk about Rand Paul. Let's do a quick roundtable, and we're going to try to be done with tonight's show in an hour to hour 15 max. If Suni has an after show on Instagram, that'll be where we continue the rant. But we're gonna try to move things along a little bit quicker. All right, what do y'all think of Rand Paul? Casey, let's start with you, buddy, old pal, and then we'll go to Suni.
Well, I have lost a lot of faith in Rand Paul. I honestly, January 6th, as you guys know, is a big stab in the back to me. I don't think that is a justified day and action to change anything about the election. That event should not have changed his opinion. What he did is he just did it out of fear or something. I don't know why. And honestly, I think him standing up against Fauci is probably the only reason why. The only reason why he's doing it is to keep his seat representing Kentucky, because he was already being questioned before. He didn't win the last election by a huge. So that could have been the last stab for him to where he would lose his job. And so I think the Fauci thing, it's great. Love it. Keep going. But I'm still not going to forget, just like Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz wasn't a great guy until after Donald Trump got on all of his crap. He was okay. And so there's a lot of these politicians that are just doing that. But overall, Rand Paul, great. Go after Fauci. But I'm not all in on Rand Paul anymore.
So I have a different take, and then we'll go to Suni, what she feels. So I was mad about January 6th being there. I get it. I think a lot of the politicians that said they had our back failed that day. I also think they're part of the misinformation campaign. They were on the receiving end. And I think since that day, Rand Paul has been fighting more for the American people against mandates, against masking, against anybody encroaching on freedoms, against Fauci, against random spending, and being outspoken to the point where he is, and against January 6th, he has spoken out against it. I think everybody that day that ended up signing the papers signed it and backed down because they were being told the same lies as the American public, that there was a gigantic coup. They were storming the Capitol. I make you a bet anybody that was in that building had been told they have weapons. They probably said they had picks and torches and everything. And he was under the impression that whatever the footage on CNN and Fox was that day was the truth. And I think that although that makes me upset that he did not go through with what he said he would do, I get that. And I think that he has been consistent 99% of the time. And he has gone hard for the American people. And it's not always what you did before. It's what you do now. And honestly, I'm on the Rand Paul train right now leading into 2024. I see a huge flaws in Trump right now. And I see not huge flaws. I see some questionable items with DeSantis and whether or not he will turn off too many voters to be in the middle. So right now I'm a Rand Paul guy personally. Yeah, thank you for making that comment on the side, Suni. Yeah, and we know Cash grew this. I will remind you, BetheChange started 4 years ago before Cash, but Cash was what lit this bad boy on fire. But let's also know that that is not a good use of our time to answer the same question of I don't know. No changes. Suni, what do you think of Rand Paul?
I think Rand Paul is a politician. And I think that we are jumping ahead of ourselves by even talking about 2024's presidential election when nobody even knows who's running in their local election. And you're like 4 months away from January. Who's running your local election? Who's running to be governor? Who's running to be lieutenant governor? How about your city council? I just think people they hear something that sounds good and they're like, I want that guy as a president. Rand Paul doesn't have the energy to be a president. He's boring.
Yeah.
He would never get the votes. I like what he's saying as far as he is the one politician telling Americans, how about you get out and do something for yourself? Stop depending on everybody else to do something for you. So I like him in regards to that, but I'm not even really paying attention to 2024 right now. And I definitely lost a whole lot of respect for Trump today. When I seen that.
Today specifically, what now? What I miss?
Oh, you don't know about
this? He is hosting, or he's going to be providing commentary on September 11th for a fight. And it's being plastered everywhere. And I'm like,
wait, there's a fight on September 11th now?
Yeah. And Donald Trump.
Fauci against Rand Paul? No.
I wish I was.
I thought it would be the Mets versus their fans at the very least, but
no, I'll pull it up because I actually posted it on my page. It only bothers me because people keep putting all this trust and he's the people's president and he's the president. He's gonna do this, and I'm like, bro, this nigga is straight providing commentary for an Evander Holyfield fight on September 11th, bro. Like, what? There's no way I would ever vote for him. No, you're not even serious now.
I love how they're promoting it too. Full live in person commentary by. I like they're not even saying
President Trump.
President Trump.
Notice do they even have the fighters' names on there?
No.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. And it's Evander Holyfield, one of the greatest fighters of all time.
Right.
Yep.
He's also got 37 children. Actually, Evander Holyfield is the Cash of boxing.
Listed,
but
right?
he had one ear that's been fixed.
I can't hear you.
Mike Tyson bit it.
That was great to watch. What didn't they fought last year, didn't they? No, he fought Roy Jones. Never mind.
Yeah. Not last year. Evander and Mike Tyson fought a long time ago, man.
Hey, Frosted Sleet, I'm going to tell you right now that if it was 2020 over again, I'd still be a Trump voter and still be a supporter, absolutely. But things are evolving in our country. What we're seeing about the mandates, I think still trace back to him. I also understand that I think he had to push the vaccine for the purposes of re-election. And when it came out in November instead of October, it screwed not only him, it screwed the American people. And he can't even clean up his own mess.
He's a narcissist. He wanted credit. He wanted to be the man that saved America with the vaccine that he allowed to happen because he was president and he let the executive order go. He's a narcissist. Like, that's who he is.
Yeah. Casey, go ahead. I was going to say, what do you think about that and Fauci?
No, with this, just comment like someone's like, I'm confused. Why are people mad about the fight? Because people are so attached to Donald Trump saying he's going to save America when he could be promoting what is going on this week, isn't it? Or is it early next week in California? Oh, I'm sorry.
Week?
He needs to stay out of that election.
Less than 7 days. He could be there helping Larry Elder or someone.
No, it's better that he's not there. He will turn off every Democrat that doesn't like Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, but the point is,
vote against recall.
He can be doing things to help, and he's not doing anything to help. He's not.
No, he's not.
He's not talking about 2022 very much. He's not bringing up different people that have already announced their candidacies for running, and he is just now oh, I'll do a Trump rally here. I'll bring millions of people and blah, blah, blah. And then I'll just talk about myself. And now we find out he's being on commentary for a fight. And the fight advertising is so bad, they don't even put the fighters' names on the freaking picture. They put his picture and his name.
Oh, also Don Jr. is going to be co-commentating. I didn't see that anywhere on there too. He wouldn't even put his son on the same. He wouldn't even put his son's name on there.
Because the reason we know he's not doing so much is because it's 2021 and everything in this world is visible. And right now, the key is metrics. And fact is, there hasn't been a lot of chatter for 2022 from his mouth. He's still talking about the previous election, which, okay, so when he says the words that there was FRAUD in the previous election, he knows that his speech will get taken off of all major social media platforms. Yeah. So that means any message he's going to share cannot be shared to anything but the echo chambers that are going to share it on Parler, and they're going to share it on Rumble. Besides that, the mainstream America isn't going to see it unless they're following him. So he knows there's certain things he could do to save his message, and he's not doing it. Again, is there a chance I would vote for him in a future election? Yes, things have to change. Just like Rand Paul. Like Rand Paul, if he stays strong to everything that he's doing day after day after day after day like this, I can't imagine me not voting for him. But again, as everybody said in the comments, and as you guys have said, 2024 is really far away. Casey, what do you think of Rand Paul?
And I already told you.
I'm the one that hasn't said anything about Rand.
Sorry, Judas. We're changing your name from Judas. You're actually going to be Kevin, so I'm not,
Oh, anyways, Kevin Stalin?
Kevin's.
No, so why do we harp so much on the absence of the father in the home? Because the father is the most influential figure in your entire life. Like aside from your mother, your father is your most influential figure and plays an important role in shaping your principles, and showing you what it means to stand strong. Rand Paul's father is Ron Paul, who is the greatest messenger of liberty of the past 30 years, 40 years, basically.
Agreed.
He stood strong in 2008 at the height of the war and said it was a horrible war that was only going to drag on. We needed to get the hell out. All it was going to do, nothing was going to change over there. He said that in 2000. This is Rand Paul's father. If you don't think after January 6th, when Rand Paul went back home to have dinner with Grandpa on Valentine's Day or President's Day or whatever, he didn't get a freaking paddling from his father for being weak that day. You're crazy. Ever since that day, because I know I was also a little bit disappointed in that, but ever since that day, there's been a fire underneath this man. He has not shut up about our liberties, about our freedoms. He has not stopped attacking the people that have been in charge. I bet you anything, as disappointed as we are that he caved on January 6th, who do you think would be even more disappointed in that? Who do you think would he be the most disappointed person in his son not standing up for himself on that day? I guarantee you, he had conversations with his father who reminded him who the hell he was, because the Rand Paul I am seeing since the election, because I remember 2016, he was boring. There was a reason why Donald Trump turning around and saying, hey, you don't even have 1%, when Rand Paul had made a very legitimate point about something Trump had said, and that got him out of the election. There's a reason for that, because he was boring. But what Donald Trump showed that I do greatly appreciate from him is that we, the people, respond. Right? We respond to passion. We respond to energy. We respond to charisma. And up until that point, politicians weren't allowed to say that because it could be controversial. It could cause problems. But Trump changed that. And I think someone like Rand Paul is starting to see that, because this man has not stopped going after our government over what it's doing.
Yeah. And I want to come back to this comment. I get, again, we're going back to Trump. The reason why we care is he is now the mouthpiece of the conservative movement, the Republican Party. I think there's multiple voices, but Suni, I agree with you. I don't wish that right now. I don't think he's the voice I want as of this moment. But Trump is he's calling the shots in the GOP, because he has silenced the Mitt Romneys. He's silenced that group or divided it, depending on how you look at it. But ultimately, what he says right now is very, very, very important. He is currently the lead of the party. And that's why I said, I don't know if he's going to run in 2024, but because of his popularity and because of the way people follow him, it's very important what he says. If he says DeSantis, people go DeSantis. If he says himself, people might weigh the options on his age. They might go, his direction. I know somebody said he's campaigning for Herschel Walker. That's great. Yeah. That's a metrics thing to me. That's also the way that Herschel Walker, who if he doesn't win in Georgia, that's insane. He's incredibly popular out there, not just in the Republicans, but also in the middle Democrats. I think he's going to win that without question. I hope, but he's looking for. He's not looking to get in a fight right now. He's looking for the easy, low hanging fruit. And I don't know. But let's move on from Trump.
I got to say one last thing about all of this. No matter the politician being discussed, these people are not celebrities. They are not to be worshipped. They are not to be treated as some kind of, infallible, kingmaker or whatever. These people are supposed to be public servants. They are supposed to be serving you. When they do good things, you approve. You give them your support, but never do you give them your worship. And never should you give a politician your worship. Politicians are corrupt. Power is always corrupt. There's always some kind of corruption going on. You cannot be president of the United States and not be, to some extent, corrupt. All of these people are going to be, to some level, corrupt. I hope Rand Paul isn't, but I'm going to assume he is until I'm proven wrong because he's a politician. Right. Doesn't matter the position.
Right. Throw up. Let's
I never
see.
said anyone did. I'm just saying, make sure you don't.
Can somebody throw up McKitty's comment? And it's not about disliking. I don't want to say it's disliking, but honestly, all right, you can bring it down. The whole idea is that this is what we do. On top of the fact that we have events where we're able to raise money and some of our clothing money goes to different charities. And when we get the opportunity to be in different groups, we do different things to continue to speak this message. And fact is, if you're watching right now, like Brent, and again, I know you watch a lot of the shows, this is what we're doing to create, to affect change. Go ahead.
So if you guys don't know what you're doing, for example, one of the things I do is I'm currently working on being a district captain for my local Republican Party to help them out. Even though I'm a libertarian, in my area, Republicans are libertarians, right? The part of Colorado I live in, it's very purple. Republicans up here are pretty libertarian. So helping the Republican Party up here is actually, has a benefit for my city. So at the city level, it's very easy. I guarantee you, if you go into your local party, it's very simple. You can go and they have slots filled open everywhere. You can serve your neighborhood by being their voice to your local party, to the city council and stuff like that. You can do it's simple stuff like that I do. I go to college campuses. I spend my time on a college campus trying to convince the students to listen to different things. So everybody can do a little something, and it doesn't take much, and you can really contribute a lot just by taking the time to go check out your local politics.
100%. Let's play this clip real quick because this is our next topic, because this is going to be in the news tomorrow. We'll see. There's two different ways to look at what she says, so let me know what you guys think. Of course, there's no audio in the actual clip. It's weird. Why is this not working?
It depends on if you're vaccinated or not.
Bottom right.
Oh, thank you. All right, there we go. All right, let's start over.
Sector does. So tomorrow, should we just anticipate the president to say much of what he's already said?
I want to start this over. Hold on. Thanks for seeing that.
Should we just anticipate the president to say much of what he's already said?
So we got an echo.
Those entities to take action, or will there be something new that's actionable?
There will be new steps the president announces tomorrow, absolutely.
And will any of those new steps influence the average American's day-to-day life? Should we expect any new mitigation recommendations, as an example?
It depends on if you're vaccinated or not. Go ahead.
I'm going to let that play through one more time and judge what exactly she's saying.
President to say much of what he's already said, to urge those entities to take action, or will there be something new that's actionable?
There will be new steps the president announces tomorrow, absolutely.
And will any of those new steps influence the average American's day-to-day life? Should we expect any new mitigation recommendations, as an example?
It depends on if you're vaccinated or not.
Okay, let's talk about this. So, based on what she said, It depends. So the reporter asked Press Secretary Jen Psaki if tomorrow's new attack strategy for the Delta variant by the president, which means he's going to be speaking tomorrow, which probably means 2:00, and he'll show up at 7:00. Will it affect Americans' day-to-day life? And she said, it depends if you're vaccinated or not. Thoughts on what she means by this? Anybody?
It means that they're going to continue to say, hey, yeah, we'll take your money, pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, get the vaccine or you lose your rights.
That's the way I heard it first. Casey, go ahead. What do you think?
I think this is setting stages for similar to what's going on in other countries. Like, look what's going on in Australia. Not very many people are talking about that right now.
So Australia is funny. Australia is another kind of okie doke of misinformation. Australia has two areas of Australia where they have gone complete totalitarianism, whereas the rest of Australia is quite free. So it's, again, we use it as this political football where now the left can say the people on the right have lost their mind. And it's
just
not
because
really,
I didn't say South Wales, because most people don't even know where that is.
right, but it's not the whole. We have
doesn't
to,
make sense.
there's. I just have to say we have to say portions of Australia, because I was saying Australia, and then I started talking to people from Australia, and they were being very specific. Certain places out there have become absolutely insane. Without
it's everywhere, but it's like everywhere but one area that isn't. That is.
No.
I'm sorry. No, like I've spoke with an Australian about this recently. I have a friend from the army that I talked to recently, and he's like, yeah, but it's a fucking nightmare, man. You know, they're starting to make us put this app. They're gonna have us put this app on our phone that makes us have to do this. That's everyone. It's not just small areas. That's gonna be all of it.
No, I didn't say small areas. I said it's two major metropolitan areas that it's the worst. I want to get more details on it, because because I was in a conference where I had a bunch of Australians. We would ask each of them, and a lot of them said it wasn't as bad.
I'll follow up right now. I have an office that is open in Australia, and they're working right now.
They're open and working like normal?
Well, they can work from home or
Okay.
wherever they're at. I know that office isn't closed.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's, again, an area where people will find little like holes to poke. But I agree, Australia, the parts of Australia that are bad are ridiculously bad. The parts that are bad in the UK are ridiculously bad. Now, I read through all the comments on the Psaki message, and could it be something where the vaccinated, I'm trying to think positive, even though I know better. Could it be something where the vaccinated get certain rights back, or could it be something where the unvaccinated have to add a test to their daily routine if they have to go a certain place? Ultimately, I don't know if there's a really good way to look at it. It sounds as though there's going to be rules against unvaccinated people to make mandates even stricter. That's what I hear, but I think there might be something else that can be heard out of that. I think it's a little bit cryptic, but she went directly to the next question. There was no explanation. So we'll see tomorrow. Anybody else?
I mean,
let's move on. Okay. Let's see let's go to Joy Behar, because it fits in this category. I'm going to go ahead and play this clip. Joy Behar is, again, since we're still talking about the unV'd, and then we'll be done with COVID talk. Well, kind of. Fauci leak is another one, but to me, that's just a lying under oath. I think he should be done for and prosecuted. But Joy Behar continues the divide.
When you're talking to Congress, you are not under oath.
Oh, you're not?
No.
So is that not?
No.
Yeah, you are. You're not under oath, but the same rules still apply. You cannot lie to Congress. It's perjury.
Yes, the law. It's perjury, and it goes to a different level than it would be if you're in a courtroom and you were lying. And it's not as severe.
Interesting.
It's sad. I watched a whole video on it today explaining the differences of it.
Fair enough.
Well, if that doesn't bury him either way, then we know that he's not just part of the snake. He's the head of one of the heads of the snakes. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I played audio. Let me see if we can hear this.
I think it's a slippery slope when you start saying, okay, we're going to stop treating you because you haven't been vaccinated. You have to think, do we say that to people who have been smoking and they've got emphysema?
That's what I like to ask.
Do we really want people who are not vaccinated, that are sick, out there in the public untreated? So I just think it's a slippery slope.
This thought process is ridiculous. Agreed.
That it is possibly, you could say to a smoker, listen, you've been killing yourself, or you've been eating yourself out of house and home, and the obesity is killing you, whatever. But that's a long-term habit that somebody has gotten into. This is a decision that somebody makes based on false information. So I say, if you have a case, go to Tucker Carlson and make your case, because he's telling you lies. He and other people on Fox and on some parts of Facebook are telling you lies.
Nobody's getting injured.
Vaccine. I mean, I have people in my family say, well, I want to get pregnant and the vaccine could hurt my fertility. No, there is no evidence of this.
There's also no evidence the other way.
That are false. So now you have cancer, or you have to get a stent, or what have you, and you're not able to get a bed because someone has chosen to defy the science. Someone has chosen to listen to the lies on Fox
also in a
and on other
pandemic
places.
where I feel like our healthcare workers have been sprinting a marathon.
So people that get shot and aren't vaccinated, they shouldn't get an ICU bed. People that get into a car accident that are not vaccinated, they shouldn't get an ICU bed. People that are just plain sick,
what about overdose?
Shouldn't get an ICU bed.
What about overdose? They know what it could do to them. Should they get an ICU bed?
It's disgusting.
Yeah, her logic is so hateful and so disgusting that it's mind-boggling. So for decades, we have had people inflicting harm on themselves, and now she is part of a growing number, and now she's got a platform and a stage of a bunch of hateful, liberal, ultra leftists on her that watch her shows that are now starting to have the same thought process. How hateful that is, that after decades of people doing stupid shit to their bodies, all of a sudden, because one person, I would love to ask her, Joy, do you think anybody has gotten hurt by the vaccine? Because I would love to know her answer, how she can spin out of that.
If you can't question it, it is propaganda.
It's unbelievable. And the whole thing about the having children, I get it. I think we go overboard on those studies because there is no studies, but there's no proof either way. So it's like, she's like, there's no truth to it. There's also no truth to know because there is no long-term testing. And the fact that she has the ability to create so much hate, I just hate it. I think it's horrible. Sorry, finish your statement, Suni, because I know you were going through all the different things that would no longer be treated, but it's just bullshit.
I don't know, man. Apparently people choosing to not get a vaccine, their lives don't matter. You know, it's funny. Black people are the most unvaccinated people demographic in the U.S. So these same liberals that virtue signal, Black Lives Matter. Well, we don't matter now when we're not vaccinated. We don't matter. Like, this is nuts, man. Nuts. You have people arguing for my body, my choice when it comes to murdering a child, but my body, my choice goes out the window when I don't want to get a shot that has no effective testing on it. We won't know anything about this shot until 2026.
It's because we have a land filled with NPCs. Like, we have people that don't want to think for themselves. I got booted off the Army subreddit. I am permanently banned because I suggested that maybe soldiers should be able to have a say in whether or not they have to get vaccinated, and I got kicked off. People like me, the quote unquote educated discussion people, are filled with misinformation and lies, and it's like, people on the left are so convinced that the people they listen to are actually doing the research and studies that they never actually do it themselves, right? So when they start berating you and condescending you because you start citing off actual facts and stuff, mind you, the only citations I used were studies from the University of Tel Aviv, studies from the data from the CDC, data like. I'm not using stuff they can't use. I cited all sources, but that doesn't matter to anyone because at the end of the day, anything that contradicts what they've been told cannot be. It must by nature be false, because their worldview is so wrapped up in their political ideology that for you and I to have our beliefs challenged, it's, you know, you're kind of just having a belief challenge. You're having an idea or a thought challenge. For someone in that, to that level of being stuck in, you're not challenging their beliefs, or you are attacking them as a person. Your engagement initiates their fight or flight response. In this case,
can you imagine, Kevin and Suni and Casey, can you imagine if I would have been like, you know what, because of all the things with COVID going on and the Black Lives Matter riots, since they're choosing to actually put themselves in harm's way, we got to give the beds to the COVID patients. If this was, you know, June of 2020, but if anybody gets hurt in a riot, that's on them. They don't get a bed. And there was shootings, there was abuse, there was fights, there was all. You chose to be there. You're not, you know, screw it. You don't get the opportunity. And somebody's asking about 2026. 2026, by the way, is the long-term side effects test, whereas the first set, which it should have never, FDA is garbage anyways, but it should have never received FDA approval until after the 2023 results came out for the initial testing. 2026 is when they're going to get some more long-term results, because nothing is ever really known until 5 years into disease.
I just want to say, this week I had to tell a leftist liberal on my college campus that when they try to tell a black person that they should trust the government and take the vaccine, that is a level of ignorance and white privilege I could not possibly freaking imagine. It's like, oh, why don't you go home and Google the Tuskegee experiments for me, please?
Yeah.
Like
that test that went 40 years. Yeah. Casey, do you got anything on this one?
No, man. It's just all the same old shit.
They're pushing it. And I guess Kimmel said the same thing. Another huge audience. My issue is these people with the huge audience where there's no way to deem what misinformation is. For example, Liberal J apologized. Well, he just essentially said, yeah, F that doctor, because he posted an article that talked about gunshot victims not getting a bed in the ICU because there was in Oklahoma, because too many people were overdosing on the I word that we can't even say on a platform. And I immediately said, that's bullshit. I wouldn't. And he's like, why don't you interview somebody that's had an overdose from the I word? I said, if there was any, I would. But anyways,
have you heard the fallout of that report, by the way?
Yes, and yes, that's the whole thing is what I'm saying. And here's the issue. So it turns out that doctor hasn't worked there in 2 months. I would love to know who paid him the money to write into the local news and say that this was happening. The hospital has come out and said there was no such thing. They had no such shortage of beds. And the great part is, this is the kicker, and this is why I say we cannot judge what misinformation is. Kimmel can't, Joy Behar can't, any of our leftist friends can't. Why? Because his article that still shows that same headline that's plopped up on his page does not have a single link to COVID information, nor does it have fact-checked information. If that does not tell you the state of misinformation in this country, the article is garbage. We get that. But the fact that it's not even marked as fake news or false story shows you that everything that they're calling misinformation and talking about Tucker Carlson's, there's no fucking way to tell. Plain and simple.
Last I checked, Rachel Maddow's tweet about it is still up.
Really? I'd love to see that. It's gotten to the point where they are causing a division that is, as much as they want to talk Jim Crow 2.0 about voting, they are causing a white-black 1960s separation between people that are in charge of their bodies and the crazy thing is, most of the unV'd people, 99% of them, don't care if the other people are vaccinated. That's your choice. It's a choice. And it's just gotten to the point where if there's going to be the final straw in our country, it's going to be over these V words. Plain and simple. Fauci, we don't need to cover much because ultimately, if you haven't seen the leak yet, if you don't know, now you know. There is some documents coming out that prove that he was part of gain-of-function research, which means it's not lying under oath. It's, what is it, Casey?
Well, you can get charged for perjury. It's just not as extreme as lying under oath. And so
I saw a potential, if it's done the correct way, I saw a potential of 5 years is what he could be charged with. But fact is, by the way, with this coming out, he's still in charge of our country's health. Like he has not been removed from his position. How insane is that?
What is it called?
Another good one. Sunni, here's another one. What about drunk drivers? Like, should drunk drivers not be treated? Like, sorry, such a slippery slope.
They're starting to make justifications everywhere for not to be treated. But on the Fauci thing, the big thing that we got to look at here is it was all money funneled through EcoHealth Alliance here in the United States. That's a U.S.-based company, and then that company sent money to the Wuhan lab. So technically, did NIH fund it directly? No, but NIH, which is where Dr. Fauci works, sent the money through EcoHealth Alliance, and it got there. And they were doing research on coronavirus viruses and how to manipulate them to either be more infectious or less. They're trying to claim that they're looking at how to make them less effective and then how to really increase the strength of them. I'm like, yeah, okay, way to cover your tracks there. But no, it's all out in those documents. There's about 900 pages of them, and you can find them on intercept.com. They have them all listed there.
No, and my mom makes fun of me. She's like, he hasn't gotten in trouble yet. Why do you think he's getting in trouble now? I can't imagine this. If this isn't the last straw, then whatever. Who knows?
It's our government.
It's our government.
He committed perjury, so it's going to be really hard to be ignored.
They're going to discredit those articles. I think that's the way that they're going to attack it. They're going to discredit. They're going to say that those never were really sent. That's the only way.
It's a FOIA request. They can't do that. It's a FOIA request. You can't do that. They're not. They don't have standing to discredit them. It is the fact of the matter is that the Intercept went in trying to prove it all false, and they had to admit it was true.
Interesting.
That's true. And Intercept is a super leftist media, and
that's true.
They had to retract a lot of and go, sorry guys, on Twitter, because everybody started posting their old Twitter posts saying Fauci's right. Paul's wrong. And now they're like, just kidding.
Can somebody explain this to Paula?
So perjury is also committed when you are called before Congress and you commit a lie. When you are before Congress, you are expected to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So you are held to the same standard of perjury. Yeah. It's not a court of law, but it is a judicial event.
Yes. So there's another comment about Fauci and his HIV vaccines. There wasn't a vaccine. It was called AZT. Another fun fact, I shared something on Instagram, and it was deemed partly false because there's no evidence that AZT was involved at killing people, and it wasn't HIV or AIDS that actually did the killing. So apparently their fact checkers are saying that there's no way to prove that AZT did any damage during the HIV and AIDS epidemic. And that's where you just have to shake your head, because that's been discussed by left and right forever. So we live in friggin' bizarre world.
I mean, if people want to find out why we question a lot of the stuff we do, just Google for yourself the largest settlement ever paid out in U.S. history. It was by a certain pharmaceutical company. Billions upon billions upon billions of dollars for putting to market drugs that were FDA approved and were not good drugs, and ended up doing tons of damage. Drugs such as Wellbutrin and such not. So there's reasons to be very cautious about a lot of this stuff.
That was NZT, by the way, Autumn, and that was a movie. But it's a very good movie. I loved it. All right, so can he get the same punishment? I think it's 5 years. We'll find out if it actually comes to a head. All right, so let's move away from COVID. I wish our whole country could. Let's see. Let's talk about Proud Boys and Antifa clash this last week. I don't know if you guys know, but Jelani is part of the same chapter of the Proud Boys. One of our black guest hosts, Jelani, is part of the chapter of Proud Boys that keeps getting called white supremacists. His buddy Tiny, who is Samoan, was attacked by a white person and shot in the ankle during one of their freedom or stop the mandate rallies out in Portland. And then also, and I think that Kevin has a video for me to pull up with Larry Elder was attacked by crazy white leftists. Throwing eggs at him. Did you see this, Sunni? Or I might have seen it on your page. Did you see what happened to Elder when he was getting egged?
Yeah, I seen it. Sorry, excuse me. I seen it. It's crazy.
I don't understand. Kevin, go ahead and bring that up for me.
I don't know if I hit the volume correctly on it, so we're gonna find out the hard way if I still need
All right,
this or
let's
not.
see it. Yeah, you got it.
Ignore the fantasy football draft stuff going on.
Get that stubborn piece of shit out of there.
I mean, okay, so you can stop it. The one thing that we can't prove is exactly who those crazy white people were. They've been claimed that they're Antifa. They're not wearing Antifa stuff, so I have no idea. But the assumption is that they are on the left, and that is again alleged. That's what's been reported, and they don't want anybody from the right in there. And it's one of those ones like, haven't you been fighting for this quote unquote equality, and now you're throwing eggs at a black guy that's running for governor? I don't get the concept. The same way as as Antifa, anti-fascist, which technically shouldn't they be marching against mandates if they're against fascism, whatever. But Proud Boys have more black members than people realize. I've recently learned that because I said that the Proud Boys were not that, everybody I've met in the Proud Boys was not a bad person, nor did I meet anybody racist. I found out that was one of the reasons I lost one of my close friends, is because he's like, wow, you've gone extreme, even though he's never met anybody in the Proud Boys. Proud Boys have a lot of people of color. And right now, Antifa just shot one of them. The logic is so flawed at this point. I don't understand how people are thinking that the left is not the hateful side from a macro perspective. Suni, what do you think?
I think it's a gross case of hypocrisy, and it's actually, it angers me. Like, that makes me want to put away my logic and say, you're just showing your ass. And it makes me feel like, you know what? We should just obliterate people that act like that. I think you should get shot by the gang members in the hood versus innocent kids that aren't really doing anything. Like, straight up, that's scum of the earth as far as I'm concerned. Like, why are you even existing? I think people like that should fall off the face of the earth. Straight up. I don't know. I don't have any. When I watched that earlier, it just made me angry. It made me angry. These people claim to care about Black lives, but only when they can control us. That is ass backwards. You either care or you don't. He's walking down the street. What assumptions can you make? And I know this dude. What assumptions can you make? Why does anybody have a right to throw an egg? Why does anybody have a right? You just literally saw people walking up to certain people and throwing punches. Get that piece of shit out of here. Like, what deems him a piece of shit? Because you don't like him? What deems him a piece of shit? Larry Elder has done nothing to this country but inform.
Blackface white supremacy.
Let me correct Gully real quick. Suni, give me a second. So as I said allegedly, probably it's been reported by everybody that has shared this that it was Antifa. And I actually am not fully buying it, which is why I gave the heavy ass disclaimer. And I also mentioned what we do know is that Antifa was the one that shot the Proud Boy. This is an alleged, and this is a assumption. I said that over and over, which is one of the few places or times you're going to hear somebody say that because they're immediately blaming somebody. I am just showing that there is a lot of hate in this country, assuming this group is from the left. If they are not, I apologize. They might just be hateful assholes that are, who knows who they are. I don't know. But fact is, we do know that Antifa shot a Proud Boy in the ankle that is Samoan, and he was with other Proud Boys that were not just white. So that's what I do know, and that's the reason why I preface it the way I did. Sorry. I remember seeing Gully Bowl in the comments before. Wouldn't be the first time we had to block him. But right now, you've just been moderately annoying. Kevin, go ahead.
I mean, I just think that there's a lot of projection. It's one of the hardest. It's really weird psychologically, because truly someone on the left that's doing stuff like this, if they are, and that's why allegedly it is the case. But let me tell you, having grown up in LA, having spent the first 19 years of my life there, having still going back there, I guarantee you these people are on the left that when they read the LA Times article that said Larry Elder is the black face of white supremacy, Larry Elder is trying to destroy your neighborhoods, when they start seeing all the hate that is put on about him. Remember, what is the only time it's okay to use a racial slur against black people? When you are a political commentator on the left. And they haven't spared any expense at it. So they've been drumming up hate against this guy. It does not surprise me in the slightest that he would get attacked over what they've been saying about him for the past, couple months in California. And of course, you're going to have crazy freaking people when you do nothing to punish people for minor crimes, when you do nothing to make sure that people are being safe in their neighborhoods, when you're doing nothing to protect the people of your neighborhoods, when you don't project any form of order or order, let's just say you don't project order, don't expect people to have order. When you're not doing anything to punish crime, don't be surprised when people are criminals. When you have to have a city like San Francisco start paying criminals not to kill people,
$300.
your system is broken. Your system is broken.
$300 if you are a high risk person for murdering somebody. You get $300 if you decide not to pull the trigger. That is the America that we have all of a sudden started living in. I want to comment before we go to Casey. Where is it? Why can't we just be people? No, I agree, and that's why I stress that there is evil and there is good, and these are evil people. And again, I don't know exactly where they're from. I do know that it was Antifa that attacked the Proud Boys group and specifically shot a Samoan man, darker skin. So that's what I do know. And then this is what's been reported about this scene from the people that took the video, was that it was Antifa. That's the best I know. That's all I know. So go ahead, Casey.
Yeah, this is just another thing like what I was reading about when I was going over when Antifa and Proud Boys had their event and Tiny got shot. When I was diving into that, and we all know one of the Proud Boys that was up there, I've been talking with him quite a bit ever since, because I totally spaced when I was doing the research that he was there. Well, he lives in the area, I should say.
And he knows. Are you talking about Jelani?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he knows Tiny very well. Yeah.
And so when I was doing research and stuff like that and looking into it, I'm seeing more and more Proud Boys are going to be stepping up. And now that Antifa has actually pulled a weapon and shot someone, it's going to be returning fire, and that's not going to be a good thing.
It's not good for anybody.
It's not. No.
Yeah.
But I can tell you the Proud Boys are going to win.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have an answer.
I think people are being real. You have double standards. Proud Boys and Antifa, they're both gangs running around doing unnecessary shit because it's not contributing or pushing America forward in any way, shape, or form. I don't have a problem with Proud Boys, but they're not doing anything to help America, and neither is Antifa. So why do we lift the Proud Boys up and put them as some positive group in America, but look down on Crips and Bloods and everybody else walking around acting violent? Proud Boys are just as violent as Antifa, and to deny that is denying reality. I've watched videos of them straight up in a melee.
Oh.
And it's not solving anything. What is it solving?
A lot of the times there is aspects of self-defense. It's a lot on the Proud Boy side of things.
That's
it's
cool,
not always the case, but you are correct.
In the broad view of stuff, the Proud Boys are not solving or helping anything. What are they doing?
The answer I'll give you on that one is I do think you bring up a very, very good point. But for the most part, and I will say, is there any white supremacists in the Proud Boys? Yes, I'm sure there is. is there white supremacists in police forces across the yes. We don't know what the percentage is. People that are like, it's bullshit. We don't know. But what I will say is what the Proud Boys do specific, and this was an example of what they do. So it was a freedom rally against mandates. Their purpose is they go out there to protect other protesters. That is their thought process. They are not there to start violence, and like relating them to a gang is very different because there's never been like Proud Boys shoot somebody like 11 p.m. in this neighborhood. They've never done that, and they've got zero, from what I understand, zero kills or anybody murdered as a part of anything that they've been a part of. Have they been in melees and fights? Yes. Typically, it is starting out. Once one thing happens, they are not afraid to fight, and are they looking for it? Potentially, but I just do not see. I do not see them being in the same category because, again, typically they are protecting other people. And from what I understand with the interviews I've done with Proud Boys, it's a drinking group. They like to hang out, they like to drink, and when they're it's like a boys club. And then when it's time to go and like be at these events, they're there. And if something pops off, they're ready to go. They're serving as security. Is there shitty people in it? Most likely, yes. But as a whole, they've been very misconstrued by the American public. Now, the same I cannot say for some of the other groups that are potentially just there for the purposes of the fight. That's what I'll say.
So, yeah, and let me touch on this to kind of address. I know what Sunni's talking about in some of the videos. Yeah, Proud Boys, their main founder was Gavin McInnes, and he left and denounced himself as he's no longer part of Proud Boys in 2017. After that is my understanding of when Proud Boys really started transitioning. So yes, there is some video evidence of it not being good prior, sure,
right.
Because that guy, Gavin McInnes, is evil. Like, go back and just pull up his old podcasts. You'll see he's not a nice guy.
No.
And so that, but then to bring up the other groups that you're talking about, like the Boogaloo Boys, for example, they're supposed to be really good, but I've seen a lot of that go bad, and because they're there just to start shit, it seems. But lately, what I'm seeing, Russo, you are on point, is they are there they were there at this event to provide security, and they knew Antifa would show up. So they were there to keep Antifa from messing with this protest and chase them out. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
So there are things, and I get it what she's saying, but I'm recognizing there's been some changes in how they are behaving since you can't say leader because they all have chapters and they all don't report to that leader. But ever since Gavin McInnes left, things have mellowed out for them, and they've had a little bit better control of themselves, I would say.
Yeah. So yeah, ultimately it's just, it's good and evil. I agree. It's not even about names anymore. There's one thing I forgot that I really wanted to bring up. I forgot to mention, we're going to talk about Afghanistan for 5 minutes and leave it.
Yeah.
But, so the Taliban has named their interim government right now. And we keep talking about the mainstream media talks about how many people Trump let go last year in their like ceasefire, their whatever their deal was. The actual people that are now running the government, there's 9 people. It's either 4 out of 9 or 5 out of 9 were detainees at Gitmo that Obama actually let out. And they're currently now in charge of the Taliban in Afghanistan. I wasn't even going to talk about that. I totally forgot. Somebody sent me the article and I just remembered that because I wanted to talk about that earlier. But Afghanistan is still a shit show. Let's not let the current administration tell you any different. We don't know if it's 100 people. The Department of Defense said there's 100 Americans still left. There's still planes on the ground. And if anybody who has been on any interview talks about that, our own government has no idea what's happening with those planes. One was actually about to leave. This is from somebody that knows. One of those planes was about to leave and got grounded by our own Department of Defense because they could not vet all the people on the plane, which I don't necessarily disagree with, but I would enjoy some transparency of what's going on. And that plane has now been there for another week. Some people are saying they're being held hostage. This is northern Afghanistan. Some people are saying, well, our government and our president and the head of all the DOD people are saying there is no hostage situation. Can I ask a question? Kevin, you were in the military.
Yep.
If planes are being held on the ground for a week and not being able to leave an airfield, that's as close to a hostage situation as I can possibly. I mean, are they serving them tea and crumpets on the?
What you got to understand about what makes a hostage situation, and why this is different is because in a hostage situation, a hostile force takes and, holds by force a group of people and doesn't allow them to move or leave the area and has demands associated with this situation. Yeah, I guess this is a hostage situation.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like, not laughing at, like, I don't want to laugh. This is insane what's going on right there.
It's ridiculous. Like, at the end of the day, the amount of incompetence that continues to flow from this whole situation is just like, it's making my brain leak out of my ears at points. Like, it's just mind-boggling. Glenn Beck is basically the one he paid, I don't know how many millions of dollars to send planes and fly people over. He's one of the main sources reporting what's going on. I think the number was they have like close to, I think they said like over 1,000 people, with a couple hundred of them being American citizens and a couple extra. And he's saying the same exact thing. He's like, we cannot leave. They will not let us get to these airplanes. Like, it is unsafe. We cannot get there. No one can get out. It's ridiculous that look, we get it. We needed to pull out of that war. It was an endless war, but this isn't how you do it. This is like it makes it like, I know you can't tell, but I am in fact incredibly angry on the inside. It's
just an absolute nightmare. And it's also about the way that Biden and his team are lying about it. That's what's so frustrating. They're making it seem like everything was done correctly instead of showing transparency. And trust me, I was being very specific, Gully, because I know listening isn't your strong suit. I was being very specific in terms of the people in charge of the current new government through the Taliban in Afghanistan, which is why I brought up Obama. If you want my opinion on Bush on the whole situation, I'm with you. I think Bush started this nightmare. I've never been a fan of Bush. I've said that over and over again. I think he was part of the extremes that have led us to where we are today. And I think he's part of the same group of politicians as Biden. So I am not going to disagree. I was being very specific in terms of this instance and the fact that 4 or 5 people that are in charge of their current government were detainees released by Obama during his administration.
Yeah, this is definitely Bush and Obama's fault why we're there and still there, and Trump has a part to play in that as well. But at the end of the day, like, all of that goes out the window. Like, the decision to pull out could have been made by any president, but all those presidents still have to follow through with a plan, still have to do the pullout, still have to orchestrate it and make sure it goes well, make sure that it's organized, make sure that the people get out of there on time, right? It's like, don't make the situation so bad that they want to send us back in there, that they have an excuse to send us back in there on the way out, please.
Right. So I know we're talking about 9/11. I'm going to be flying that day. It's odd how many times I fly on 9/11. I remember the first time I flew on 9/11, it was very scary to me.
It's probably the safest day to fly in, on honesty.
Maybe not the 20th anniversary. I don't know. We will. I know we don't have a set show that day, but if we want to hop on, we might do that. We also, the last thing we'll talk about as part of this Afghanistan thing is what it makes us look like on a global level. We're seeing, and Kevin knows a little bit more about Yemen than I do, and he explained it. And we were talking about the Houthi rebels, which is actually their government.
It's a toss-up situation. The people took part of the government when the current the president after Saleh took over. His government started to crumble. They started to have jihadist attacks. Like, there was a lot of unrest in the nation. A group of people called the Houthis up in one of the I think it's the northwestern parts of Yemen, took control of their area, started gaining mass support from the people, and then the Saudi-backed government with the fallen president just started bombing them to hell. They've killed about 500,000 people at this point, and we're supporting it because the Houthis are supported by Iran. Despite the fact that the Houthis are actually, if you do any research into it, the Houthis are not the bad guys in this situation necessarily. Bad things happen on both sides, but the Houthis are not the bad guy in this situation. Yeah, we've allowed and participated in 500,000 deaths because of it.
Yemen is quietly, for those that don't actually do a lot of research of what goes on overseas, been one of the biggest genocides in the last 50 years, and that's even looking at Africa. I mean, it's looking all over the world. It's been a horrible situation, and we are not innocent in it. We have been a part of some of it. We have aided some of it. We have avoided some of it. But fact is, if you look at what's going on right now, the people that are trying to do the overtaking that are on the opposite side of the United States, they see the way that we are, the world is watching essentially. And the way that we handled Afghanistan is making us look weak on an international level. And that's it's a scary thought, because right now they're like, I mean, we're essentially negotiating now with terrorism. We are abiding by their rules. As much as I think all of us on this panel agree it was time to pull out of that war. Once people were killed and once shit hit the fan, after the failure of, like, this is a perfect, I love this analogy. It's like we sent the bouncer home before the bar closed when we know that it's a rough bar past midnight. That's that's honestly the best analogy I've seen. And that's what we did. And now that's a time where you got to send all the bouncers back, take care of it, and we can get the F out and get the people out safe. And we didn't do that. We plain and simple did not do that. And Pineapple Express, the Congress, the military veterans that have gone in there and done things, and our Department of Defense has claimed that they helped with that. Every single one of these people, Pineapple Express and the veterans and the Congress people that have gone back and done, Glenn Beck has said the government has actually done nothing but hurt them. So that's the world. That's the country that we have right now, and that's the best that we can describe it. All right, let's go to final words. Anything you got? Let's start with Kevin. I'm not going to take you off the screen because now you have the power as well. So we're just going to play.
See, this is called mutually assured destruction, Anthony. Now
you
you understand Russia and China and America. I'm just kidding.
China.
But no, once again, like, all I really truly care about is just spreading the language of the message of liberty, making sure that we as people, as Americans, understand that we have the power to take the power back from the politicians. We are the pillars upon which this country is built, and we cannot let the Congress people that we have and, you know, our corporations and stuff try to tell us anything different. Because at the end of the day, we, the people, are this country. Our values, our cultures, our traditions, we are the people, are what makes up this country. And it is through our individual liberty and our individual greatness that this country itself is great. Do not ever forget that. Don't forget to go over to the Liberty Revolt, libertyrevolt.media.com. We put out content there. We try to follow our page on Facebook. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff with BetheChange, I guess. Look for our live streams to be on the Be the Change page. We're going to be doing an interview, as I believe next weekend. We're trying to get someone in the studio doing another interview like we had this past weekend. So if you enjoyed this past weekend show, head over to our Facebook page, like, share, subscribe. We live stream all of our radio shows. So I appreciate the support, and remember, guys, we got this.
Yeah, great job. Your live you did the other day was also fantastic as well. So great job. Casey, go ahead. If we want to start a discussion now, I guess would be the time to do it. I must have missed the last hour and 17 minutes, but Casey, go ahead.
Yeah, I read that too. I was like, oh, okay.
Super confused. Maybe she just jumped on. I don't know.
Yeah, my statements, again, just going back to what I used to always say, the elections are coming. You have September 14th for California. Recall is super important. And then you got 2022. You have a lot of candidates putting themselves out there for next year. Like, we got to get ready. Screw what 2024 brings. Start focusing on the now and your local elections and making changes there, because you could flip the House and the Senate with this election.
Casey, I'm going to interrupt you real quick because I got a great idea. People are wondering what we can do, and we're pretty good about this. Casey, I know you're great at it as well. Is as 2022 is getting closer, I'm not going to say we're going to create a resource that does the actual information about each candidate, but there's a lot of those out there. So what we'll do is we will aggregate content on how to best choose your local representatives. If there's something we can do by providing information in that sense, we've got some time until we get there. We'll work on it, or we'll have somebody work on it, and we'll put something together so you can know more about your local area. So I think that's something that actionable that we can do, as people ask what we do, actionable to create information about local leadership. Because again, it's not always about voting straight ticket. There are some great Democrats out there. There's also some great Democrats that are running Democrat because the incumbent has been there for so long. They might have very middle ground values, and they're going to be running on that ticket as a Democrat. And you might want to know some of those things. So, Casey, continue. Sorry, I thought about that, and I think that might be a good idea.
No, I agree. We tried to do that before, but it probably is more effective now that there's more information than there was last time, because there wasn't as many candidates. So yeah, we'll go back over that. So the last thing I just wanted to reiterate is September 11th is on Saturday, guys. Like, that's a big day. And that day is what opened my eyes to a lot of paying attention and questioning the government in general. Not saying anything specifically on how it occurred, blah, blah, blah. But seeing that, reading and learning a lot about it is what opened my eyes to a lot of this. And I hope everybody will continue to never forget what happened on 9/11, because I have now 4 kids in my house, and the oldest kid in my house is 12, and he has never been really taught about 9/11.
It's crazy. I'm traveling. I think I get back at about 6 that night. I will be sure to go live. I remember that day like yesterday. Still one of the glaring memories in my mind from the conversations I had on the phone. So I'll go live on 9/11 and tell a little bit more about that. So ultimately, we'll talk 9/11 there. Kevin, what's up?
Fair warning to the people that might tune in on Saturday. Me and Dylan will be debunking the station host's 9/11 conspiracy theories. That is what we are doing.
Debunking, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We will be debunking his conspiracy theories.
Definitely curious. Let's see. I'm gonna mute Casey. Sorry, I didn't mean. I was muting you right because I heard the echo. What was that? Go ahead.
No, I was just, he had to bring that up because I just wanted to ramble off a whole bunch of garbage really quick.
All good. Benghazi is an interesting one, and I know I've met a few times. Tonto, Chris Peranto, and actually that was, I think, the trade for Bo Bergdahl, which is with the Gitmo detainees, the people that are now in charge in Afghanistan. From them. That was actually part of that trade from the original Benghazi. We're gonna have Suni give her final words. See if maybe there is a Instagram live coming up. The last thing I'm gonna say, if you like any of the gear that Casey or I are wearing, you've got these hats, you've got what he's got on. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the comment box. You get 25% off right now with the code WakeUp and LA Strong. Wake Up might be 20%. I don't know, but LA Strong 25% will go to. All proceeds will go to the LA Strong charities we put together. Our store is continuing to grow. We got things like the Awake shirt that I'm wearing right now. I'm Awake, Not Woke. We got the hats, all that good stuff. If you want to find a way to support us and also look badass, the way that I say it is this. If you're not willing to speak up, might as well wear some clothes that are going to make people go, no, I know where they stand. Like code words that you're awake and not woke. So I got that up on the screen. Suni, what are you doing tonight? And what's your final words? What do you got for us?
I don't know. I might just, I think I need a break from the internet.
That was me 3 weeks ago. I was about to be done.
Heard that.
Yeah. No. I don't know. I don't really have anything like good or positive to say because I'm tired of hypocrisy. And I didn't really get to finish the conversation with you guys, but
you're all good.
I don't have anything good to say, I'm going to be honest.
No, you're good. And honestly,
stop being hypocrites. Stop having double standards. Yeah, if you require something on one side, then you better require it on the other. And don't be like, well, it's because they're blah, blah. Be a person of integrity. Hold everybody to the same standard or just stop, man. Straight up. That's just it.
Sure.
I think that was pretty profound. Now I'm going to tell you, I lost a little fire 3 weeks ago, Suni. I'm not going to lie. Like after I had COVID and I was, tired and whatever, and just seeing the world that just daily daily is devolving in front of our eyes, our country devolving in front of our eyes, people splitting us up over the most asinine bullshit. I took a week where or 2 weeks where we barely did shows. I think we did one show. I wasn't into it. I'll be totally honest. And we need certain breaks because this world is bullshit. This world that we do is bullshit, and it's tough. And whenever your heart is ready to come back in, that's when, like, I have not felt more strong about what we're doing. The event that I'm going to be a part of, and that hopefully everybody can make it. If Suni can come in from Japan, hopefully she'll be there in January. We've got some amazing speakers, and there's some big ass names. So I'll be letting people know more about that. The tickets aren't expensive, but they're not cheap either, but they are worth it. And I'm going to tell you, the lineup is unreal. And it shows that there are big name people in this country that want to stand up for our freedoms and stand up for who we are. And I just feel like, and I'll be honest with you guys, and I'll say it again, and maybe a shorter live, I'm going to give this 6 months of full tilt. I'm going to go as strong as I can, and I want to grow the page. So if we continue to see growth on the page, if we continue to see us having an impact, hopefully having some way to start funding what we're doing just because of growth and because of merchandise and because of message and Patreons and whatever, because again, there's a certain level, there's only so much work a human being can do and research before they've burnt themselves out. And we've got Casey and Kevin helping on the admin side. And, we've got another gentleman. You've probably seen him on different stuff. Eric is helping. And we are going to do whatever we can to push forward. And we are going to give it a run for its money in the next 6 months. And I challenge you all to start sharing, to start wearing things that show who you are and what you stand for. And as somebody said earlier in the chat box, at the student, they went to the parent teacher or the parent, whatever it's called, school board stuff. And they said, no mask, 120 parents showed up and they fought and they won. I had somebody else reach out on the down low and say there is local leadership that is saying they are looking into everything that they're doing. Voices have to be heard. We want to help you be a part of that and be a part of that voice. So that's what we got for you guys. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Suni, if you do any IG lives, let us know. Maybe we'll try to hop on. But thank everybody for joining. Have a good night. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Fight to unite, if that makes sense. All right, guys. Have a good night. Take it easy.